Let's go top 5 running backs that you must draft. And number 5, it's going to be a big name. Most of these guys are going to be big names because there's not many must draft running backs for me. No offense, there's just not many guys that stand out from the bunch. Mainly because they go too early in the rounds. Jonathan Taylor, second round pick. I'll take him in the second round. A lot of these guys, first, second round picks that I trust. Now, Jonathan Taylor, the only problem is he's got no quarterback. He's got no defense. He's got no offensive line. Will Fry just went over to Minnesota. They just lost their center. So it's not the best offensive line, and he's still going really early. That's why he's number 5 on this list. Now, I love Jonathan Taylor. As a Texans fan, probably stupid to say, but Jonathan Taylor, he's a good running back. And it's evident that they love him as in the Colts facility. They're going to give him a lot of touches. They gave him a lot of touches last year. They're going to give him some more this year. But that's the only concern for me is he's going to get a lot of touches, and it's not going to be in meaningful games. So he's going to be the 3-down workhorse running back. Another reason Jonathan Taylor's on here, their second running back is Tyler Goodson. Tyler Goodson is not going to compete with Jonathan Taylor for the starting job. I'm expecting Taylor to be out there for 90% of snaps and be maybe a receiving back as well. So with that being said, that's why I like Taylor, because of the volume, because of how long he's going to be on the field. And yes, that's more subject to injury. However, I'll take my chances with Taylor. I think 5 is the right spot because of increased carries, injury risk, and unknown situation with how terrible the Colts are. So again, could be higher, but I like the situation he's in. Just not necessarily the role they're going to use him for because the team is not very good. Number 4. Actually, let's touch on the stats really quick. Because last year, 14 games, 1,400 yards, 300 plus carries, 4.5 yards a carry. If he's healthy for the whole season, he can be a very good player. Again, it's just the health. You don't know what's going to happen. So Jonathan Taylor may not be a player I want to take because of if he gets hurt. Tyler Goodson, I don't trust him to do anything. And I also don't trust the Colts to be competitive. So those are the 2 big ones for me. Josh Jacobs, number 4. Jacobs, another guy who doesn't really have a lot of competition. Emmanuel Wilson, maybe. He got hurt last season. Kind of Jacobs' bulk of the carries were on the red zone. I don't know if this is going to be a 1-2 punch offense. If it is, I'm going to be a little bit nervous. But I think Jacobs is a viable starter. Going as the RB9. He finishes the RB6 last year. I think he's a pretty safe bet in terms of he's gonna get a lot of touchdowns, gonna get a lot of touches, and again, you don't really have a lot of wide receivers for the Packers. So Jacobs, number 4, mainly because I'm unsure of how this year is gonna go for Green Bay, but he's definitely gonna get a lot of touches inside the 5. This is a team that loves to run the ball. Josh Jacobs is a beast, but again, are there a lot of other options? No, that's why he's number 4 here. Number 3, Kyren Williams. This is a guy I love. Absolutely in love with Kyren Williams. He gets all the volume. He's the RB1. He's a 3-down workhorse back. The only problem is with how many times the Rams run the ball, and this is with every running back, but specifically with how the system is ran, they run running backs into the ground. I know it's in the name, running back. They run them into the ground. They run. If you're going to draft Kyren Williams, you need Blake Corum because he had 2 good seasons. His kind of second year in the league, he broke out, and I loved Kyren that year, but he got hurt. There was a few games he was hurt, and he only played in 14 games. And if he's going to be out for a few weeks, you cannot lose that valuable starter. So why not get Blake Corum just to solidify the fact that you have 2 dominant starters? And how do I know Blake Corum's dominant? Because, well, just look at the preseason game. They used him like they were using Kyren, and he got 2 touchdowns. So it's not the fact that Corum's this crazy great talent, but it's also the fact that they're 2 similar play styles, they're 2 similar body types, and they're 2 guys that are going to play the same position that are pretty much the same scheme fit, pretty much. So, love Kyren Williams, but the fact that he had 300 plus carries, it just kind of makes my eyes huge, and I got this weird feeling, knock on this wood, but I have a weird feeling. I'm just not even going to say it because it's just, you don't want to assume, but with somebody who gets so much volume, with somebody who has a great season, it's unlikely that they have the next season. Talked about this with the Saquon Barkley video. I'm not saying you're going to get hurt. An injury can happen to anyone. But when you're looking at what's going to happen with the situation, sometimes you just get a weird feeling. I'm not a fortune teller, but if you're going to draft Kyren Williams, I might get Blake Corum, because I did the same thing with Nick Chubb the year he got hurt. Nick Chubb had all the right reasons to be an RB1, but I was a little bit skeptical because he had the best season of his career. So this is either going to be a Kyren Williams RB1 season, or he's going to get hurt mid-season and Blake Corum's going to take over. So I don't mind taking Williams, but you have to get Corum. Have to. Number 2. Caleb Johnson, a name that you're probably like confused with, like a rookie, number 2, really? Yes, really. Did you guys see how many times the Steelers ran the ball with Najee Harris last year? He had like 300 carries for about 1,000 yards, 4 yards a carry, maybe less than that. So if Caleb Johnson, a fresh legs from Iowa, can do anything of what Najee Harris did in his rookie season, whew, we're in for a rude awakening. Caleb Johnson and DK Metcalf, 2 players I love a lot. DK may not be that great now that I think about it, because Arthur Smith's system is, hey, let's give it to the running back 100 times, even if it's 4th and 5 from shotgun. Let's hand it off. But Caleb Johnson just seems like a Steelers running back. He's a bell cow. He's somebody who may not play on 3rd down. That's kind of Jaylen Warren's job. But Caleb Johnson's going to get 1st down work, 2nd down work, and pretty much is going to be Derrick Henry for this offense. He's going to get about 15 carries a game, probably about 60, 70 yards, and a touchdown. He's going to be good for 10 to 15 points. And if you're good with that for an RB1 or an RB2, Caleb Johnson's going to be consistent week in, week out. I think he's going to have about 1,000 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, and about 10 to 12 touchdowns. I love him a lot. I think he's going to be really good this year, but Jaylen Warren might steal some 3rd down work. Time for number 1, the guy you've all loved, been waiting for. I cannot stop talking about this rookie. If anybody puts in a comment about the fact that he had -3 yards in the first preseason game, I'm going to freak out, because that was bogus. He had 1 good run for 3 yards, and he was wrapped behind the line of scrimmage, even made a guy miss. But the fact of the matter is, the Raiders' offensive line is not very good. That's the only problem. But I don't think that's going to be a problem, because in an offense, I'll use Saquon Barkley as an example. The Giants' offensive line was terrible for years. But if you are a superstar talent, if the good things coming out of training camp are true about Ashton Jeanty, which I believe in, the talent is going to outweigh the bad situation. The volume that he is supposed to get as a running back 1, as a guy who's going to play 3 downs, that's the type of season out of a running back that I want to have. I know the height's crazy. His stance is now different. He used to stand up like Michael Watt Myers. Now he's actually in a running back stance. But Ashton Jeanty in a Pete Carroll system, he's going to get a lot of carries. He's going to get a lot of touches. I'd say 1,100 yards and about 5 to 10 touchdowns at least. 10 touchdowns, I would say, leaning to. And you ask yourself, hey, Mike, is that necessarily a running back 1 season that you want to take a running back in the first round? Probably not. But I am so in love with Ashton Jeanty. It's either him or McCaffrey for my first round pick if I'm taking a running back. And the more that I think about it, I want to take McCaffrey, but think about it this way. If Jeanty has 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns, but still has receiving work on top of that, think about it. That could be legendary. That could be a season for like an Austin Eckler 2021 season where he was the RB1. And he had 50, 60, 70 catches. If Jeanty's going to catch the ball 50, 60 times, I definitely want him on my team. The receiving value is what's going to be make or break for Jeanty this season. So those are your top 5 must-draft running backs that I personally love for this season.